everyone, welcome to my first YouTube video. Today I'm going to be reacting to Australia's worst storms. It's known as the Killer Storm.
We're all used to weathering frequent and ferocious thunderstorms, but the one that raced through country Victoria and slammed Melbourne on the 21st of November last year was loaded with added, unexpected peril. Within a matter of minutes, the entire city was left gasping for air in a mass asthma epidemic. Thousands were struck down and, tragically, 9 died. What caused it was a highly unusual phenomenon called thunderstorm asthma. But there's never been an outbreak as catastrophic as this one anywhere in the world before. And what's more frightening is it will happen again. We just don't know where or when. It may have looked typical enough, but it was a thunderstorm like no other. A vast and powerful weather system hiding a deadly enemy. It barreled across Victoria towards a city completely unprepared for the chaos that was to come.
How far away is the ambulance?
They're coming lights and sirens as quickly as they can, ma'am, okay?
I just said, we need a doctor immediately. She can't breathe. And I think I heard someone in the line say, we all can't. And I looked around me and I just said, what's happening? This must be the end of the world. This must be the last day on Earth.
The scale of it and the spread of it was something I'd never seen, heard, read about, or even envisaged in our planning.
When you're watching storm cells like this connect into what looks like a front line, it's like a frontline attack on Melbourne, isn't it? Well, what did you think?
Very concerned. From a scientific perspective, the ingredients were coming together into something very serious.
By late afternoon on that hot November day, 5 storm cells had converged into one massive front stretching 250 kilometres.
All I remember is just me trying to breathe. It was like I was choking.
By 5 p.m, in the suburb of Melton South, 45 kilometres from Melbourne, Mania McElhaney is one of the first to feel the storm's impact.
I was really short of breath. I couldn't really talk.
Seeing my cousin like that, I've never ever seen that in my life, like someone in so much pain, like right before my eyes. So I got very, very scared.
At 5:30 p.m, 30 kilometres away in Sunshine West,
I thought I was going to die. I was telling my partner I'm going to die.
Jackie Falzon has woken from a nap with her son Frankie. She too is suffering an asthma attack. For the first time in her life, her medication does nothing to help.
It just kept on getting worse and worse, and it kept on blocking off my breathing until I couldn't breathe much anymore.
And in that moment when you don't think you're going to survive something like this, what is it like to confront death?
It's hard to think of my son growing up without a mother. It hurts.
50 kilometres away, across town in Doreen, Rebecca Wenner is desperately worried about her 11-year-old daughter, JL.
I thought, oh my gosh, something's wrong. And she was like, you know, and I was like, oh my gosh, something's really wrong with her.
They raced to the nearby hospital to find it gridlocked with people suffering the same.
There were just people everywhere with Ventolin into their mouths and either getting treatment, waiting for treatment on stretchers. And it felt like a natural disaster had taken place, except there was nothing that you could see of that. There was no evidence of that.
The thunderstorm cut a swathe through the state and swept across the city within an hour and a half. Its intensity was frightening enough, but its true menace was invisible. Unbeknownst to those in its path, it was delivering a suffocating mist that would leave thousands hospitalised and 9 people dead. For its rapid onset and devastating scale, Melbourne had never seen anything like it. This place must have felt like it was under siege on the night.
These guys here and the whole team here, there were over 500 calls.
For Ambulance Victoria's Director of Emergency Management, Paul Holman, it was the beginning of the most extraordinary and challenging night of a 40-year career. When you put your computer on the 21st of November last year, what did you see?
Well, basically all I saw was this sea of red. I didn't believe what I was seeing. I rebooted the computer because I thought that can't be right. There's something wrong with the program.
That sea of red, as Paul puts it, had begun to build as soon as the storm struck. Within a matter of minutes, every available ambulance was dealing with a critical patient with a life-threatening respiratory condition.
To be honest, you feel like sitting under the table and rocking backwards and forwards a bit and just pretending it's not there.
As much as you would like to hide away, and each of these dots represents someone's life.
It's somebody's life, and you know, that's exactly why we're here. We're here to save lives.
At 6:10 p.m. in Hoppers Crossing, 20 kilometres west of Melbourne, Hope Carnevale is at home with her sisters London and Tyne, when she also starts struggling for breath.
Suddenly it hit her and she could not breathe, she couldn't talk, she couldn't sit up. So then I went over to her and I was helping her, and then Mum got home and we called the ambulance.
Hope, the 20-year-old law student, had suffered severe asthma all her life. Her mum, Danielle, immediately knew it was serious. So when you rang the ambulance, what was the response?
They said one had been dispatched.
So what was your expectation?
That it would be there within 5 minutes.
The call is made at 6:32 p.m. Precious minutes pass by and there's still no sign of help.
We carried her outside and she was just on my shoulder, and then at that point she started crying and telling me that she was scared, and that's when it really hit me. And I started to get emotional and I started crying. We're just crying with each other, and then I kind of realised that I might lose her.
By now, Manaya's 12-year-old cousin Maddox has also called an ambulance. What did you think was going to happen to you?
Oh, I thought it was over.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know what to do.
And when those ambulance officers walked through the door, what was that moment like?
It's like in a movie, like seeing Superman arrive.
He couldn't speak. He was so unwell that he couldn't speak. He was only answering my questions with a nod.
When you come across an asthma patient who can't speak, what does that say to you?
That they're critically unwell.
The emergency system is now in complete meltdown. Paramedics Anita Lloyd and Georgie Fogarty are on their own.
We certainly had no idea what we were going to encounter during that 14-hour shift.
This is just the first of 7 patients they'll treat that night.
Normally we'd hopefully have 3 or 4 of us to manage a patient that was that unwell, but on that night we just had to manage just the 2 of us.
There was no one else coming?
We couldn't even request assistance, and so we just had to start moving. And Georgie was in the back on her own with Manaya.
Did you think you could save him?
I hoped that we could, but I knew that he was so unwell that it was likely that we were going to lose him.
As Manaya is rushed to hospital, Danielle is still on the phone. What was it like to be on hold for that long, waiting?
It's undescribable. It's you know, I'm watching my daughter just disintegrate, barely able to move, and it was traumatic.
And at any stage, had you thought, I've just got to get her to hospital, I should do this myself?
We did, and then the ambulance operator said, no, it's on its way. It's on its way. She started turning blue, and I could see, just before her last breath, Mum, I'm dying. Mum, I can't breathe. Mum, help me. Mum, help me. And to not be able to help her as a parent, that is the hardest thing you can ever go through. We heard sirens, but that unfortunately was for a house just behind us. And then probably about 2 minutes after we heard that siren, we couldn't feel a pulse.
Coming up, the warning that was ignored. Is any part of you angry that it wasn't taken more seriously sooner?
How many more thunderstorm asthma epidemics can we endure?
And what happens next time?
It's like a little bio bomb going off.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
I could see just before her last breath, Mum, I'm dying. Mum, I can't breathe. Mum, help me. Mum, help me. And to not be able to help her as
That's
a parent,
fucking horrible.
that is the hardest thing you can ever go through.
Oh, not having to help someone, that would be so sad.
We heard sirens, but that unfortunately was for a house just behind us. And then probably about 2 minutes after we heard that siren, we couldn't feel a pulse.
Coming up, the warning that was ignored.
Oh, she died.
Is any part of you angry that it wasn't taken more seriously sooner?
How many more thunderstorm asthma epidemics can we endure?
And what happens next time?
It's like a little bio bomb going off.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
So guys, if you like that video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, and also make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would really appreciate that. That's it for reacting to the killer storm in Australia. If you want a part 2, let me know down in the comments. Goodbye, people. Adios.